Hey everyone, welcome to the 10th and final video and lesson of the Student Portfolio Project and Playlist. Congratulations on making it this far. And again, my apologies for last video saying that might have been our last one, but this definitely will wrap things up. This will be our final thoughts and final administrative dotting I's and crossing the T's. We wrapped up the footer on the last lesson. So if you're coming along and you're not our classmates, thank you, number one, for that. And just to give you a little basic, this is a very beginner's student portfolio. So I'm very proud of my students here. This is only their second walkthrough. Their first walkthrough was their initial introduction to HTML and CSS, and it was a static one-page website of an image gallery, and we slowly went through the process of what is an element, what is styling, and so on. This is just their second project. And what we do is we'll do a walkthrough and then a freelance, and a walkthrough and a freelance. So students, it's your time pretty soon here. It's time to freelance your own student portfolio. So why do I bring this up for non-students? This is a start. By no means is this all the bells and whistles of advanced CSS or SAS and so on. This is bare bones beginning HTML and CSS. It's a great place to start, so I'm happy that you're coming along. And in some ways, I don't want to go too over the top because I want students to kind of bring that on their own once they're comfortable with the foundation. So that's where we're at. So welcome to the final lesson 10 of the portfolio project. Hopefully, students, you could use this. You've heard me say this in class. If you are leaving and heading into a university community and you are deciding whether to work in minimum wage for $15 an hour at a Big Y grocery store, or maybe at $20 to $50 an hour in a design internship setting, this is what you want to show future employers, internship opportunities, and universities. And this is why we want your projects here. So very happy that you took the leap and followed along. So let's wrap this thing up and get you to your freelance. So what do we have to do next? Well, on Index, or our home, we went all the way down and did a very basic mock footer here. We did reference what would normally be in a footer for a business type of environment. And then we already had projects complete, but we have to put that footer on the projects page. And likewise, we have to then just complete the blog.html and the about me. So where we're going to begin is where we started. Let's pull down one more time for that student portfolio project, and let's put index.html in our editor for all to see, and let's just scroll down and see what we've got. We've got our navigation set up, we've got our hero section, and then finally we have our footer here. Now, one thing I did pick up quickly is if you would follow along with me, if you followed directly with the walkthrough, blog.html, while it's nice to have it capitalized with content, it is lowercase in the file name, and we could see that all the way over here. So we want to have that as a lowercase b. So let's Control S on that, and we want to take this footer, copy it in our clipboard, and let's open up projects.html. So if you remember projects.html, we already had content. We copied that from Index, added our font awesome styling in here, kept the navigation, and added the project header and our cards in here. So after the cards finish up, and let's, I'm going to move to the end of the section here, hit enter twice, and paste the footer. One thing that did jump out at me, I do want to put a comment in there. So let me grab the comments for projects card. And we want to say closing project gallery class. So let's come on down here. And close. And I'm going to keep it as it is in the class, lower camel case. Let me check the spelling. I believe it is project, not projects. So it looks like we're all set. So we now have that distinction in our closing section as well. So this is closed project gallery class. That matches up, and here is our footer. Okay, so now I'm going to just bring the script file up a little bit. Let's quickly take a look and see if we've included the footer on our projects page. So there's 1, 2, 3, and there is our footer. So another thing you may have asked about, why didn't we style the footer in the media query? Because when we go to the centering, justified content centering actually fits and adjusts using Flexbox on mobile and big screen. So we kept the font small enough and so on, so we did not need to have any type of adjustment there. All right, let's close out of that, and that is save projects. Okay, so let's close out of projects, and let's open up our blog.html, and lo and behold, just like we started with projects, we have a blank file in front of us. Okay, so with that blank project, like always, we could just hit Shift 1 and Tab to populate our HTML boilerplate structure, but we're going to hit Control Z again because we've got more to it. We've got index again as our model, so let's actually copy everything down from index, and that's why we wanted to make sure we had everything there. We corrected the blog spelling, we got the footer in there, go all the way down to the bottom and put that in your clipboard. Come on back up to blog, eliminate that exclamation, make sure we've got a clear page here, Control V, and now let's go to the very top. So here, title is our first thing, and we want to change Aladdin's blog as our title. We still want the navigation here. The hero section is going to go. The footer will still stay. And the script.js will still stay. So let's go to the end of navigation before footer. Move your cursor, hit enter twice. And we want a section snippet here. And inside of that section snippet, we want a class equals. Now this class is going to be temporary. I'm just going to call this filler. And inside of that class, or that tag, we are going to have an H1. So an H1 snippet. And this is going to say currently working on blogs. Normally you don't publish something until everything is complete, but again, this is student projects, so we are going to hold off on blogs. That's not the main focus, but for my students, you'll see later on, we do want this available to you at some point in your career, so we'll have that just kind of waiting for us under construction, so to speak. So we want to hit enter here, and we want to come back with an H3 snippet and just say please come back soon. So I think that is it. Let me close that section up there, and save your blog here. And now we want to style it. So we're going to style this in the style.css file. So let's open that up. Okay, so I have style.css open. Let's do the same as we've done in the past. Let's go all the way down to the media query. Just before that starts, hit enter a few times, create that nice separation so we don't overwrite the media query, and let's go back to blog, and let me practice what I preach here a little bit. I'm going to copy the class name filler in here and Control V. Nope, that's not what I want. Control C there. Okay. And let's actually put this in preview alongside here. So I'm going to slide over my file structure. There is my page. there's my navigation. Copied over, there's the footer, and does not look all that well here. But we've got currently working on blogs. Please come back soon. There's our H1 and H3. Let's go to the styling here now. And remember, that was a class, so we want dot filler, open curly brackets, and we want to display flex here. So let's display flex, and the flex direction, we want to intentionally set it to column now so that those headings are on top of each other, where flex direction defaults to row. We are setting it to column. We want to align items so that means vertically now, align items follows the main axes of your flexbox. So now our main axis is the vertical y-axis, so that will align everything in the center of the page. And my apologies, I was talking about justify content. Justify content is the main axis. Hold on here, there it is, justify content, and we want center here. That will center everything up and down because justify content, my apologies for that mix-up. Justify content will follow the main axis. The main axis here, because its column is going to be the y-axis from your algebra days. So we're going to go center up and down. Align items is the opposite axis, so that will now here be your horizontal or your old x-axis, and we'll center that. So we're trying to center the content in the page. Let's hit delete here and see what we have on our screen. So it kind of centered us here a little bit. So that's exactly what we wanted, but we still have a little bit of work to do here. So we want, let's keep the margin all the way around to 0, and you'll see why in a moment. We're going to use a height to be 90% of the view height of the device that the user is looking at. So let's head on down here, move up our media query, and let's see if that worked. Control S, and notice now it is covering 90%, and there is our footer at the bottom. So if we open this up in a bigger screen, we now have footer down below. Currently working on the blog, we've got our page up top here. We could probably even change that to maybe 80. Whoops. If I could type, there we go. So let's see what 80 does for us. And it just moves it a little bit better. There we go. So the footer is still below the viewpoint. 80 gives us the look of the navigation at the top, the message that we're working on the blogs, and the footer down below. So that looks okay for now. Okay, so notice we have filler here. So now we have one page left to do. So I am going to close out of the preview. And our strategy here is to see if we could use, without adding to style, can I wrap this project up with the About Me page? So let's save what we have here in our blog.html. And I'm going to close out of style in the editor, and I'm going to come on over to About Me. And again, we have our blank page. So let's come over to blog, copy everything in blog. Control C, move over to About Me, paste that in. And in the title, we're actually going to be putting the title About Me. And we're going to change the H1 and H3 here. So in the H1, We're putting to be completed by the students in the H3. On their personal student portfolio. Okay. So to be completed by the students on their personal student portfolio. All right, I think that is it. Now, we're keeping the filler there, so that should work the same way. Let me bring up footer a bit here, not too much, but there we go. We don't need to adjust footer, so everything should be set with about me as well. Let's finally do one more test. Let's go to index and preview. And there is the preview for mobile. So if we get it into a little bit of a more of a mobile view, we've got our hero section with the footer down below. If we drop down our nav and go to projects, there's our project page with the footer. Now let's drop nav down again, go to blog. There's our blog page. And finally, let's see how About Me came up. About Me is also to be completed by students on there. So we're seeing the H1 and H3. And that, folks, wraps up the student version of Aladdin's portfolio. This is our walkthrough. If you want to take a look on the big screen, please do that as well. So at this point, I want to thank you one more time for sticking it out and staying around with the student portfolio walkthrough. It is now your time, students, to shine with creativity, to bring in your content on the hero page, to add your projects, and those projects now will be Image Gallery, and then My Gallery, your freelance, then this walkthrough, and then you'll have a fourth connecting to the actual freelance portfolio of your own. So you want to have all four projects on this projects page when you are done. Finally, blog in your freelance, you're going to keep this wide open just as it is. About Me is going to be your time to shine and to style this all by yourself. Again, everybody, thank you so much for coming along. I hope that you advanced your learning in a little bit about the basics of HTML and CSS. We'll see you in the next project, everyone. Take care.